What is up, guys? My name is Ryan. Welcome to another Honkai Star Rail video. Now, in today's video, we're taking a look at the usage rate of the current Memory of Chaos cycle in patch 1.5. But before we hop into the topic of today's video, I want to point you guys to my Discord server. Link for that is basically in the description of every video. You will get notified whenever I do a upload, whether it is a YouTube short or a video. You will be able to communicate with my community here as well as with me. So if you have any questions, don't bother to ask through the Discord server. Make sure to join that to support the channel. And with that being said, also make sure to check out my YouTube shorts section where I basically try to upload a video every day. Definitely make sure to also check that out if you want to support me and support the channel. All right, with that out of the way, let's get back into the topic. So this Memory of Chaos usage rate is very recent, so it is from the 19th of November 2023, so just a couple of days away from the time where I do record the video. So I do this Memory of Chaos usage rate here and then. I don't do it every patch, but because I think that there are no significant changes that can happen if I do it like every patch. So I try to do it like once every 2 months, once every 3 months, just around that. Big shout out to pridefund.gg. Link for that is also in every description of every video. They have great data analysis and they provide a lot of good information on their website. They also only do work with official official information, which I do really like because I tend to not work with leaked information on my YouTube videos. So yeah, as we can see here, we have the data from over 14,000 players that shared their 1.4.3 Memory of Chaos clear data. And then they have scanned 1.1 million accounts in EU, NA, and Asia regions, and out of those, 10,702 cleared Memory of Chaos 1, only 3,500 cleared Memory of Chaos 10, and were included in our statistic. The characters are ranked with appearance rate, which is how often a character was used by all players regardless of whether they own the character or not. Ownership rate currently cannot be obtained. And the data only includes character information based on the usage in Memory of Chaos stage 8 to 10, but you can use the toggle to only show Memory of Chaos 10 statistics. So I think this, I would still go for the Memory of Chaos 8 till 10, because I do think that starting from Memory of Chaos 8, it gets a little harder. I think like Memory of Chaos stage 8 is the last that I can autoplay as a free-to-play. Starting from 9, I have to do it myself, and as well as the Memory of Chaos 10. So these are like the two floors, 9 and 10, that I cannot auto. I struggle to auto them, but it is no problem if I manually play them. So then I have no troubles at all to clear them. All right, so let's take a look at the character roster at the limited 5 stars. Then we have the standard 5 stars, and then we have the 4 stars underneath them. So we have a very clear number 1 here, which is Fu Xuan, which is still, till this day, in my opinion, the best character in the game, because this character really carries very hard in the Memory of Chaos, and you can see this by the usage rate. It is 73.5%, which is by far the highest usage rate here. I think there's no one that has there shouldn't be any character or any 2 characters where the difference is that high. So the most used character is Fu Xuan, and the second most used character is Jing Liu, with a difference of like over 16%. Nearly 17%, we could say, which is a very, very high difference here. So that shows the dominance of Fu Xuan in the Memory of Chaos. Then second is Jing Liu. I really feel like Jing Liu is also a very insane character. In my personal opinion, the best DPS character in the game. Like, not in terms of raw damage, but in terms of her whole kit and how it works. In terms of damage, she can hold up to the highest ceiling DPS that is in the game, while also being skill point neutral, which is a very, very efficient way of being a DPS, that she is able to not use up all your skill points while still putting out the damage that you need to clear the floor. So I myself, I do own a Jingliu, and I really find it very, very easy. I honestly have to say, I think she is kind of boring, so don't hate me on that. I like the character, but I kind of feel like that she is, of course, her team comps are like flexible, but like how you use her is always the same. You want to pair her with either two. You pretty much want to pair her with two characters that can amplify her damage. So either two characters that increase her damage, or one character that can increase her damage, or one character that lowers like the defense of the enemy, something like this, around those lines. So basically, you just want to amplify her damage and then pair her with a sustain character. I think like this is always the way how you pretty much want to use Jingliu. There are like some other team comps that are also very efficient that you can use, pairing her like something like with Blade, because there are two skill point neutral characters. But like in my opinion, I think Jingliu is like a very standard way to clear memory of chaos. Like pretty much everybody does it with Jingliu who got her, and that is no surprise. Then with a little less than 2%, Locha is the next best character. Not the next best, but the next most used character, which I also do think is very clear. Locha has one big advantage over any other sustain character in the game, and that is that he is super skill point positive. I think like out of all the characters in the game, Locha is the most skill point positive character. I had a small discussion with my friend that he said that he never has like any issues with skill point, but I still do value having skill points so much. I mean, like he is like pay to play. He basically buys the battle pass and the express supply pass every month, and then sometimes he even cashes in to get the new character with the weapon. With that, yeah, I know it makes you more easy. You basically paid to clear memory of chaos easier. But if you don't have the luxury, if you like have to manage yourself, and as well on top of that, he was lucky. He was able to get a lot of the characters earlier, but now you have to think like more in a free to play way or in a low budget way, which I think is the majority of the players. You cannot afford to maximize a character every way. And even on a maximized base, I think still Locha is so good since he is able to generate skill points. You will never have the issue to worry about that. Like, if you use a character that uses up a lot of skill points, you still have to have the right management, whilst Locha always generates that one extra skill point in your rotation, which I still value Locha as the best sustained character after Fushuan, which I can totally agree with these three characters being like the most used characters. For me, actually, this is no surprise that these three are the top three characters. I don't know how about you, but I think that it is no surprise that these three are the most used characters. Now, let's continue with Silverwolf. Silverwolf got a little bit more relevant, I think, because she is now able to get included into more teams, even though we can see a decrease in her usage compared to the last Memory of Chaos usage rate. Her disadvantage is still that she is focused more on single target damage, while we are currently actually in a blast meta. We are trying to attack multiple units, which Silverwolf is weak against, but still her weakness application and her whole kit is still very valuable to clear like the big boss, which why I also do think that Silverwolf really belongs into this spot. So if I have to do my top 4, top 5, I would rank these 4 characters in exact, like, okay, maybe I would say Fushuan number 1, Locha number 2, Jingliu number 3, and Silverwolf number 4. But I think that a lot more people summon for Jingliu, which why she has, of course, a little bit more usage rate than a Locha. So next is Seela. I think Seela is just here because a lot of day 1 players have her. She had her rerun. So PlayStation users that just came into the game, players that played her since day 1, still have her. And that's why I still think that she is that high. Of course, she doesn't really fit into the blast meta, but she still has the value of, or she still has something that is kind of similar of blast damage, because after she kills an enemy, she gets another turn without actually taking another turn in the cycle. You just have to have enough skill points, and then she basically can one shot like the whole rotation. So I still think Seal is a very insane character. We do notice that she kind of gets a little bit of power crept by other characters, but I still think that she is relevant enough, and it's still justified that she is, or that she has this placement in the tier list. Next is Imbibe Lune. Honestly, I don't really know why Imbibe Lune is here. Actually, the gap between Imbibe Lune and Jing Liu in terms of usage rate is pretty high. It's like 20%, over 20%, while in terms of damage, they're very equal. The only thing, or the only problem with Imbibe Lune is that his team comps are more limited than the one from Jing Liu's, and he is not skill point neutral. He is skill point negative. So these are two very important factors that you have to take in account. I also do believe that not a lot of people did summon for Imbibe Lune, because he came after Blade and Kafka, who was like a kind of very popular patch. And people were kind of preparing for Fu Xuan during that time for Jing Liu. So yeah, I think people like to focus on these two characters, which why not that many people did summon for her, but all the people who did summon for the character definitely use him. That's why, as you can see, he has the lowest decrease in terms of his usage rate, so he is still up there. Okay, next is Blade. Blade has a very similar usage rate compared to Imbibe Lune. I definitely do think that Blade is a very good, a very decent DPS character. Wind is like a very relevant element in the Memory of Chaos, I think, right now, which I do really like. But in terms of damage, he cannot hold up with like these two. He actually cannot even hold up with Sealy, in my opinion. I think that he still does slightly less damage than Sealy, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, he definitely cannot compete with Imbibe Lune and Jing Liu. But I also do think, yeah, if like you have a perfect Sealer run in a super good cycle with her speed and all, she will have more attacks in one cycle. She will one shot everything. I still think that Blade cannot hold up with Sealer here. Then Topaz, this is pretty much a surprise. She has a nearly 7% increase in usage rate, because currently Fire is very favored in the current Memory of Chaos, which is like the only thing that I can imagine of why Topaz got an increase in usage rate. I think the character is decent. She's not something insane currently, because she actually needs a character to pair with. She's a enabler for follow-up, which we currently not have in the game. We have, of course, a couple of follow-up characters like Kafka, Himiko, Clara, Jingyon. They all have follow-up included in their kit, but they are not really focused on doing follow-up damage like Fu Xuan would amplify this. Or how how Topaz is supposed to amplify follow-up attacks. But that's why I think only because Fire is currently favored in the current Memory of Chaos. That's why I think she got an increase in usage. Kefka got a decrease in usage rate a little bit. Yeah, I think it's just a small one. There's nothing to change. I think all of these DPS characters, except for Topaz, are like more relevant in the current meta. So I think like these four, Jing Liu, Sealy, Blade, and Imbibe Lune and Blade, are like the top 4 DPS characters, while Kafka is not worse. Okay, sorry. I think she's a little more worse, but she's like not worse in general, right? She's still a very solid option. Kefka and Topaz, in my opinions, are those type of characters that cannot be really power crept, because as soon as there is a stronger character of their category, so a stronger follow-up DPS and a stronger DOT DPS, they will just get the support role in that team, because they are amplifiers for their certain category, for their special ability, for their special attack pattern. Yeah, Jingyeon got a small increase here, which I also do not really know. I think, yeah, we could say that Lightning is a little bit more relevant in the current memory of Chaos, but that's it. I mean, like, his usage rate before was already low. It's like the gap between Kafka and Jingyan is like 10%, which is quite a lot. Even with his increase, it's like still 10%. While if we see, like, if we compare like all the other DPS except for Jing Liu, like if we compare Sealy to Mbappe Lune, it's 2%. If we compare these, it's like literally these three have like the same usage rate, kind of, right? While then we have Kafka in the next category, which a 10% gap, and then we have Jing Liu again with another 10% gap. So yeah, I don't know. I think Jing Yuan's usage rate won't go up. I think it could be that I'm pretty sure that he should be last uh, in the next usage rate update. So because now we come to Ho-Ho with only 7.1%. So in my opinion, there are two possibilities for that. Number one is a lot of people did advise not to summon for Ho-Ho. That's why I think it possibly could be that not a lot of people have her. Um, and number two, which I think is more likely, she came out in the middle of the Memory of Chaos cycle. Most people, like me, do their Memory of Chaos run in the first week when it comes out because they want to get the Jades. So that's why the data here is like, I think it's from the 19th of 11. This is after the release of Ho-Ho. So only 3,500 people cleared it. So only the people from then that already cleared Memory of Chaos after they pulled Ho, from them they have the data. So I am pretty sure that this should move up with the next Memory of Chaos. So because I think Ho, I think should have a higher usage rate than at least these three characters, in my opinion. Because like a lot of people advise not to summon for Ho, but I only can agree with that if your sustain roster is not good enough. Is already good enough. Sorry, if your sustain roster is already good enough, I think I can also advise not to summon for Ho. What does it mean? If you have characters like Fushuan, Lochak, Japard, and Bailu, like these four, if you have like two or more of these characters, then definitely you can skip Ho. But if you don't have like Locha, Fushuan, you only have Bailu and Gepard, I think, or only one of these two, I think then I could advise you to summon for Ho, possibly, because I still think she's way better than one of these two characters still. I think she cannot really hold up to these two. She's like kind of on the same level, but she cannot exactly hold up to these two characters. I think these two are still a little bit better when it comes to sustain. Even though Ho can heal more than Locha, but she's like mostly skill point neutral, and like Locha being super skill point positive. And currently, I think, yeah, if the fight is a little bit longer, which will be with Memory of Chaos 11 and 12 that is coming up, I think that Ho is could be very more relevant for this. All right, okay, let's go over the last character a little bit faster because compared to the last usage rate, there's not much changes. So Bronya is by far the most used character. I also think that Bronya is by far the best standard banner character. Bailu and Japort are the two sustain characters. I think these are pretty much the best replacements as long as you don't have one or more of these three characters here: Fushuan, Locha, and Ho-Ho. Then Clara, the best DPS in this banner, which is also kind of clear to me. And then, like, these are whatever. I think Himiko got a little bit increased because she can be paired with Topaz and a team. Yangjing, nobody wants to use it. And Weld is, like, still a decently good sub DPS. Like, some niche builds use him. most of the people will rather use the DPS or sub DPSs and combine a team with characters from the limited pool. But if you don't have anything else, I think Welt is still good enough to help you to clear Memory of Chaos 8 to 10. All right, then for 4-star characters, I will only talk like about the first 5 because I only think that these are the most relevant. For the others, I will skip very quickly. Tingyun, of course, the highest valuable character. She's like on the same level like Bronya in terms of her importance in the game. But yeah, next is Pella. Kind of same thing here. You kind of want to pair like these three, any two combination of these three with like a strong DPS from the top 4. Especially Pella alongside with Jing Liu if you have Pella on E4, because then you will buff up your ice damage. But usually, like in a lot of team comps, you pair up like 2 of these if you don't have Silverwolf with the DPS roster on top here, or 1 of these with Silverwolf with any of the top characters. Lynx, I think Lynx is the best, the next best healer if you don't have anything from the limited ones. I think Lynx is still a better option than Bailu. She should be free to play in one of the next patches. I think in patch 1.6 we will get a 3 Lynx, if I'm not wrong. If not, she will come back one day, and 4-stars return more often than limited 5-stars, so it should be very easy to get her in the future. And I also think that she will stay relevant even if there is a new abundance character, just because of the fact that she's just a 4-star. She's way easier to pull. Asta, she's like kind of the plan B in terms of a damage amplifier character. There are a lot of cool team comps that you can have with Asta, especially if you want to break certain speed thresholds. That's why I think Asta is way more relevant. So I think like these 4 are the most relevant 4-stars in general in the game. All the others are like more for niche comps and for comps that you want to build kind of for fun or because you really don't have nothing better. Like talking about that, it's pretty much for the Trailblazer. I still sometimes use Trailblazer just because I don't have any other preservation character. I don't have Fushuan and I don't have Japort. That's why I will start to use. That's why I still use the Trailblazer. He's doing fine. I think like he's not the worst. He's still okay from what he's doing. So I still am able to clear Memory of Chaos 10 with 30 stars. So that's why I think that he still has his place here. The next Yukong for niche comps like with Imbibe the Lune, for example, Sampo, and Gonaifen, or some niche comps. Gonaifen has a small increasement because, as I said, Fire is a little bit favored in the current Memory of Chaos roster. You can pair her with Kafka. Jinkwei in general was a very solid unit here, but she doesn't get an increase, so she's still not as relevant as the characters here. And I don't know. I stopped using Jinkwei, honestly. That's why I don't think that she is relevant enough, at least for Memory of Chaos. For other content, I still use her, but in Memory of Chaos, I started to use her less, starting from Memory of Chaos 8 and higher. Yeah, and all the other characters are pretty much whatever. All right. Hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Again, it was a pretty long coverage. Yeah. Subscribe to the channel for more Honkai story content, and I see you guys next time. Bye.